Well, I've been working on this 5B, this HMV 5B from the Black 102 portable. It had a loose needle bar that was causing a buzzing sound. Now the way these things work is you have these two pivots here on either side, and there's ball bearings inside here that these ride against. They just barely touch, that's all. Just enough to hold it, not enough to restrict it. It's a delicate procedure to get them just right, and somebody did not understand how this worked. And what they did was they had, when these things get old, the needle bar gets a little loose and it starts to move a little bit on its pivot like that between these two. And what they did here to try to tighten it up, you see that? See if I can zoom in on it. Whoops, lost the focus. Try it again. See that copper bit jammed in there? Yeah. To take up the loose space, they jammed that copper piece in there. That's not coming out. That's stuck in there. It's going to stay in there. I'm going to try and work around it and get it to function. But they didn't leave enough room for the adjustment. That little, let me pull back a bit. That little nut on the end there, it's on the thread, you see it? That's your adjustment. Now the cap screw, which is stuck on there, it's still stuck on there, comes off. And you take that off, you adjust this, you lock down the nut right there, then you put the cap screw back on, and that just keeps it in place. They probably didn't realize that cap screw comes off, and I'll get it off later. It's soaking in coil right now, but I'll get it off later. But they didn't understand how the adjustment worked, so they tried to work around it and come up with a different solution. And in doing so, they pretty much ruined this needle bar. That's not going to contact the ball bearing now. There's no way I'm going to get that piece of copper out of there that they jammed in there. It's permanent now, and I'm going to try to work around it and see what I can do so we eliminate the buzz anyway, because these are hard reproducers to find, especially in good condition. At least the needle does appear to be straight on there. Why do people do this sort of thing? Maybe it was done in the times before the internet and they didn't have the ability to look it up and see how these things come apart and adjust properly. I don't know. Give them the benefit of the doubt. But that's what's going on. That's what was causing that buzz when it was playing in a previous video. I mean, it's not a bad reproducer other than that. I mean, it does have some deterioration on the back. You know, that sort of thing is normal. This is a pot metal back. They do that. The gasket is actually still pliable. I'm very surprised. It's still soft. It's still doing its job, which is good because sometimes taking them out will cause this to crack. And in fact, I think I have one here somewhere that is not that one. That's a 5A. Where is it? Yeah. They'll do this. This is from another machine. I didn't do this, but it came like this. This is a 5A actually, and this pot metal seems to be a worse mix. Tends to deteriorate more so than I've noticed the 5Bs do. I already used the needle pivots out of this. I do have a needle bar on there, and I can use it to swap it over, but frankly, I need it for one of my machines. So that's not going to happen. I don't know if you can see the ball bearing down in there. Yeah, you see it? See it glinting right down in there? Yeah, that's where it's supposed to be. There's not supposed to be a piece of copper jammed in there, used as a spacer. I mean, that's not too good. But I'm going to try to make it work and see what I can do with it. Because to replace this probably cost, I don't know, $150 by the time you import one into the U.S. from UK eBay. Maybe more. I haven't kept up on the prices because frankly I won't pay them. I go with the Victor Orthophonics. They're not cheap either, and they have pot metal issues too. But they often tend to be gold-plated, but you can find them eventually on eBay. They show up or at the shows. Sometimes you'll have to buy a derelict machine to get one, but they're around. That's what I use in place of this when this happens. Or something like I did with the other one over there. Either way, it costs money, and this shouldn't have happened, really. You know, if you study the problem long enough, you can figure out how these things work. I mean, it's not insurmountable, but unfortunately, the damage is done here. But I'll see what I can do. I'll see if I can make her work, at least sound decent. It's not really going to be an ideal bearing in there, and I'm not sure I can make the adjustment work. But I'm going to give it a shot. At least it's copper and not a piece of steel or something like a piece of wood. Well, if it was wood, I probably could have picked it out of there. But the copper, I simply can't. It's not coming out, so... Oh, well, that's the story on that. We know now why it was doing what it was doing.